I love this book about jelly beans because the rabbit is one of my favorite books, Pink and Say. His nose goes like this, and his mouth goes like this.
I love how it really gets your imagination going.
My favorite part about that is when I read a book, I think about being that person. Mind-blowing.
Imagine if there was a world where every single home had a home library. Kids would be excited to read. That's the world that My Very Own Library is trying to create.
I would describe myself as a bookworm. I love to read books.
My Very Own Library is a literacy initiative based in Newark, New Jersey that supports students' love of reading and helps them build their very own home libraries. We offer students the opportunity to go into a book fair and select 10 free new books every school year. In these schools, majority of them don't have school libraries.
It's not rocket science. If you don't read, you really don't go to college. If you don't read, you don't get to pursue your dreams.
The cheapest, most economical way to close the poverty gap is by teaching a child how to read.
The My Very Own Library project was started in 2011 by a woman named Ann Feely. The impact that being a volunteer literacy coach had on her life was so powerful that she wanted to give back in a really big way.
She approached me with this tremendous vision that children should have access to books, not just to borrow them, but that thousands of kids in Newark should have their own home libraries. That it just energized me and excited me. I knew it was a partnership that had to happen for the sake of our kids.
Together, with the support from the Foundation for Newark's Future, they brought the My Very Own Library project to life. We work with scholastic book fairs, and we offer students 3 free new books 3 times a year.
The magic of the Scholastic Book Fair is it actually rolls a bookstore into a school.
When I go to a book fair, I run in and I try to get the first good books.
It is a big deal that books are free. In many of the households that my students come from, the dollars are stretched very thin.
To me, it's really helpful because my mom can't really afford to buy a lot of books for me.
A program like My Very Own Library has tremendous impact.
It feels good to me because I know that I can choose whatever book I want. I get to share books with my friends. We laugh about them if there's a joke or something funny that happens.
It gives them the opportunity to have some of the things that children who have greater means are afforded. If my children can read, it's going to open up doors for them.
Kids from low-income neighborhoods tend to have extremely low literacy rates compared to kids growing up in middle-income and affluent zip codes. As they grow older and fall further behind, students lose confidence in their reading skills and stop trying. Opportunity closes for them. But what happens if suddenly a child has access to books of their choice? In the first few months of kindergarten, a student has the chance to pick out 3 of their very favorite books. By the end of the school year, they've got 10 books they love. By the time they're in 3rd grade, they've got 40 books. By the time they're in 8th grade, they have a library of almost 100 books of their very own. Students' reading comprehension increases. They read faster, their writing improves. They can use these skills to gain access to better opportunities and make better future choices.
Reading is the most magical thing in the world.
When my students fall in love with reading, it changes everything. It opens a whole new world for them. They can read about any subject. They can read about any kind of person. They can travel around the world in books and in their minds.
I want them to see things that exist outside of this community and say, I want to go there. I want to study this. I want to know more about this.
Family engagement has become a very critical part of the My Very Own Library program.
We have Family Literacy Night, which has been awesome, and we get about 100 to 150 families that come in.
My Very Own Library connects families and children to come together and read. If they read together, they'll succeed together.
My Very Own Library is changing lives in Newark.
We see it in the eyes of the 14,000 kids across the 21 schools that we're serving.
Seeing the success of My Very Own Library now makes me not only a celebrant of its success, but feel a sense of urgency that we continue it.
If I didn't have My Very Own Library, then I wouldn't be reading books at all. How would we learn about Andrew Jackson, the War of 1812, how the war ended, and how other people lived? I'm the best reader in my class. I'm a super reader.
My Very Own Library supports more than half of all Newark Public School students. It's our goal to reach 100% of all those students.
If we're going to be serious about closing the achievement gap, if we're going to be serious about eradicating educational inequity, we have to level the playing field. We just need your support to make that happen.
Please go to myveryownlibrary.org to get involved.